Nothing justified October 7th. Does October 7th justify everything? Welcome to This Week, Those Books, your rundown on books that resonate with the week's big news story. This week's big story is in the form of a question. Why is the United States, funder of Israel and its chief supplier of weapons, not stopping Israel's Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu from continuing to expand its war? It's been a year of bloodshed following the brutal Hamas-led attacks on Israel on October 7, 2023, and Israel continues to spread death and destruction across the region, killing innocent civilians and displacing them from their homes in Lebanon and Gaza. We have two books this week. The first book is The Message. It's by award-winning writer Ta-Nehisi Coates. The book was just published. The longest of its three parts is about Coates' visit to Israel and the Palestinian territories. Coates, a thoughtful journalist and writer, examines reality closely, laying it side by side with aspiration, intention, and legislation. He has done this with respect to racism in America, and now he turns his gaze on the Palestinian people and the reality of their life in a country that's routinely described as the region's only democracy. Choice quotes from The Message by Ta-Nehisi Coates. Race is a species of power and nothing else. Israel was revealing itself to be a country where no Palestinian is ever the equal of any Jewish person anywhere. I now noted a symmetry in the bromides that those who claimed Israel as the only democracy in the Middle East were just as likely to claim that America was the oldest democracy in the world. And both claims relied on excluding whole swaths of the population living under the rule of the state. Jim Crow is the first thing that came to mind, if only because Jim Crow is a phrase that connotes an injustice, a sorting of human beings, the awarding and stripping of the rights of a population. Certainly, that was some part of what I saw in Hebron, in Jerusalem, in Lid. Our second book is Grand Delusion, The Rise and Fall of American Ambition in the Middle East by Stephen Simon. Simon's long career with successive administrations made him eminently qualified to write this brilliant and blistering critique. He examines 45 years of American policy in the region that the West calls the Middle East and the rest describe as West Asia. He insists at the outset that America is not singularly inept, cruel solipsistic, and is, in fact, leagues ahead of other imperial powers that have trod the vanquished territories of the Middle East, Africa, and the Asia-Pacific region. However, Simon is clear-eyed about the multiple failures of U.S. policy on and in the region. From Reagan's disastrous 1982 dispatch of Marines to Lebanon, George W. Bush's 2003 invasion of Iraq, Obama's somewhat scrambled response to the 2011 uprisings against Arab autocrats, and Donald Trump's declaration that U.S. military help for Saudi Arabia would be purely on a fee-for-service basis. The book, published 6 months before the October 7th Hamas attack on Israel, is prescient about Biden's presidency and beyond. Simon writes, in the shop-worn phrase favored by Washington pundits, you can avoid visiting the Middle East, but it can always visit you. If it does so during Biden's term as president, it will be in the form of a confrontation between Israel and Iran. A choice quote. Was there a grand delusion? There was, and it was multidimensional. The delusion was rooted in the conviction that facts don't matter, just intentions. That we create and inhabit our own reality. Our capacities are unconfined, and the objects of our policy have no agency. They are just avatars in our own metaverse. I hope you find This Week Those Books useful, thoughtful, and a conversation starter. It's a small operation here at This Week Those Books, and support from readers like you helps keep this news literacy project going. Thanks very much, and I'll see you next week at This Week, Those Books.